in a small region of only 51,000 square kilometers, is found 6% of the world's biodiversity. Millions of years of evolution have shown this territory to be ideal for the development of the most diverse forms of life. Located north of the equator in the southern extreme of Central America, it forms part of the neotropics. It's Costa Rica. Because of its great diversity and biological richness, Costa Rica has become a true mecca for ecological tourists, naturalists, investigators, and orchidologists with a driving desire to see and study its more than 1,200 species, divided into some 175 genera. This concentration of orchid beauty makes this country renowned throughout the world for having one of the greatest natural orchid densities. Costa Rica has 26.6% of its total area in national parks and reserves. Costa Rica goes to great lengths to make its system of protected areas useful. As an example, its latest forestry law makes a formidable advance in recognizing the tremendous benefits from its forests in the fixing of carbon dioxide, helping to stabilize world climate, as well as a source of water for electric generation and human use. Sources of scenic beauty, essential to ecological tourism and its biodiversity, so valuable to medical and biological research. It's no wonder that Costa Rica finds so important the development of its great ecological potential. Costa Rica is rich in terms of national parks, protected areas, beaches, forests, fauna, and biodiversity. Equally important is its social development. Costa Rica is 33rd in the entire world in the indices of human development and 9th among the 125 developing countries. However, in Costa Rica, the decisive hour has arrived. Some wish to postpone it for political reasons or because of economy. In the environmental field, the contamination, deforestation, the imminent extinction of many species, and citizen disinformation must be faced with new ideas and actions. What effect will the decisions we make today have? The SACRO Foundation, a private non-profit organization, has not only asked this question, but is working on possible solutions to the extinction of numerous species of native Costa Rican orchids, where decisions must be made. Let's Save Our Guardia Morada is an extraordinary project, reflecting the sense of long-term responsibility that exemplifies the foundation. The Guardia Morada, Guarianthi skinneri, was proclaimed to be the national flower on the 15th of June, 1939, by the then President of the Republic, Leon Cortés Castro. Nevertheless, the impressive Guardia Morada, a national symbol, is nearing extinction at the hands of unscrupulous commercial and private collectors, as well as because many in the population lack knowledge about the problem. SACRO and extracurricular activities in the public schools of Sabana Grande and neighboring areas of Nicoya has spread information among students and teachers about the conservation and propagation of the Guardia Morada, native orchid of Guanacaste. This has been a far greater success than expected. The project has grown throughout the region and in the minds of its inhabitants. Girls and boys of these towns have participated fully in the campaign. They not only recognize the importance of protecting and conserving the Guardia Morada, but it has become a symbol of their land. By drawing and painting it, they are expressing their affection for this plant. They have become defenders of this orchid, growing up, protecting it, and helping in its expansion. The SACRO Foundation, as a solution to the imminent extinction of the Guardia Morada, proposes the idea that anyone can save it. A toothpick is the key instrument needed for the recuperation and conservation of our national flower. This invitation, by means of an information bulletin created specially for this campaign, is directed at those who, having at least one plant of Guardia Morada, can pollinize its flower. Once the pod develops, SACRO will incorporate it into its national program to disperse the seed of our Guardia Morada throughout the watersheds and other regions apt for its growth. This dispersion will use, among other methods, model airplanes and helicopters under radio control, which will overfly these zones, scattering the hundreds of thousands of seed. An agreement with the Turubati Tropical Park allows SACRO to utilize their cable cars and canopy cables in the park so that school children and other lovers of the Guardia Morada can carry out the dispersion of the seed along the Tarcoles River, with the commitment of its officials to protect the plants during their development. One pod of a Guardia Morada can contain up to 2 million seeds, of which some 100 normally will germinate in the wild. Of these, only about 10 will reach adulthood, taking up to 8 years to produce its beautiful flower. In vitro propagation is another method used by the Foundation for the reproduction, commercialization, and conservation of the Costa Rican orchids, contributing to the conservation of native species, many of which are endemic. Orchid gardens, with which SACRO collaborates, are distributed throughout the country. At Hacienda Navarro, Hacienda La Laguna, the Guardia Garden of Turrialba, and the Monteverde Orchid Garden, among others. These gardens are an efficient mechanism for conservation. They participate completely with the interactive projects of the SACRO Foundation in the promotion and installation of areas of cultivation and permanent expositions. These gardens with an extraordinary added value since they are part of natural ambiances and of easy access for visitors. Sustaining these projects and strategies over a long term requires financing. The world must understand that little Costa Rica is taking firm steps, but needs funding to continue in the future. The ABC of the Costa Rican orchids represents a vital form of financing for all the projects of the SACRO Foundation. This resource also embodies a global vision, as it is planned for the use of orchidologists in every part of the planet, as well as for all of those just beginning this activity, or simply for those altruistic and sensitive people who believe in the struggle for nature conservation. This extraordinary multimedia instrument is an excellent example of what SACRO is doing in pro of sustainable human development. Within is found, organized from A to Z, more than 170 genera and more than 1,000 species of native Costa Rican orchids. Each species is represented photographically with details of the flower, inflorescence, and plant. Besides, there's a taxonomic description, data as to where each species is found, plus important information for its cultivation. Welcome to SACRO, an organization of which you are part. These important projects are yours. Talk about them to others. Spread this information to the farthest reaches of the planet, feeling the pride brought on by your collaboration in the conservation of this marvelous world, the world of orchids.